Welcome. So, we were discussing about the folk song of the Gharwala region. The folk song of that period said, these beautiful oaks and rhododendrons. What is rhododendrons? A bush with bright red flower which won't shed its leaves in winter. Most of the trees in Himalayan region, in cold region, they shed their leaves. But these rhododendron and oaks, they won't. They help in purifying air. They release oxygen. Photosynthesis will be going on. So the air will be purifying. These beautiful oaks and rhododendrons, they give us cool water. And as usual, so the water, they don't cut these trees. We have to keep them alive. Most of the area is covered with rhododendrons and oak trees. So don't cut them. We have to keep them alive. Why? If we want to be alive, they should be alive. That these village women knew. In 1973, I had gone to visit my favorite forest and swim in my favorite stream before leaving for Canada to do my PhD. Normally, we cultivate a kind of attachment of the place where we spent our childhood. She spent her childhood in Himalayan forest, so she had that attachment. So she went there where she learned to swim. Where she learned to swim in a stream. Stream means the flowing water, but smaller than river. Swim in my favorite stream before leaving to Canada to do my PhD. But the forests were gone. Forest gone means no stream, and the stream was reduced to a trickle. Trickle means moving water, moving in a very small amount, like drop by drop, trickle. Forests were gone, so the stream reduced into a trickle. I decided to become volunteer of the Chipko movement, and I spent every vacation during Padayatras documenting the deforestation and the work of forest activists and spreading the message of Chipko. There, I decided to protect the forest area or the trees. I decided to become the volunteer for this Chipko movement, and I spent every vacation means free time, vacation doing Padayatras. Padayatra means walking pilgrimages. Padayatras, documenting means documenting the deforestation and the work for the forest activists and spreading the message of Chipko. I wanted more and more people to involve in Chipko so that more and more trees will be saved. So if I spread this message of Chipko, we can expect more people to involve in this, those who are aware of the importance of forest, so that most of the trees will be saved, was my intention. One of the dramatic Chipko action took place in the Himalayan village of Advani in 1977, when a village woman called Bachni Devi led resistance against her husband. Her own husband, when he took contract to cut trees, logging work, when she didn't like it, she joined Chipko movement and went to protest it. Yes, she knew that it will bring a conflict at home. Still, she thought that these trees are more important than the environment at home. One of the dramatic Chipko action took place in the Himalayan village of Advani in 1977, when a village woman named Bachni Devi led resistance against her own husband. Here, own husband, rented husband is not there, but this own is used to stress the importance of her action. Who had obtained a contract to cut trees. That means he was the contractor of this logging work. When officials arrived at the forest to mark the trees which should be cut. Officials arrived at the forest. The women held up lighted lanterns, although it was broad daylight. They came during the daytime only, but these village women, led by Bachni Devi, they held up lighted lanterns. Lanterns means old-fashioned lamps with handle, which they carry to go from one place to another. When officials arrived at the forest, the women held up lighted lanterns, although it was broad daylight. So the forester asked them to explain, what is this nonsense? This is daytime, why are you holding these lighted lanterns? The forester, obviously he asked to explain the reason for this. The women replied, we have come to teach you forestry. We have come to teach you forestry. You are the forester. You are the officials of this forest department. But we have come here to teach you forestry. He retorted. Retorted means reply in a short, angry way. Nonsense. What's that? Like that. He retorted, you foolish women, how can you prevent tree felling by those who know the value of this forest? We know the value of this forest. Each and every tree may bring thousands of rupees. You don't know the value at all. Foolish women, how can you prevent trees felling by those who know the value of the forest? You can't prevent it. Do you know what forests bear? They produce profit and resin and timber. So we get profit from this forest. Do you know what the forest produce? They produce profit, resin and timber. Resin means a sticky substance which is produced in a particular tree, which is used in agarbatti, incense sticks factories, and some factories of this dhupa and all they produce, no? Especially incense stick factories, and timber. You know, agaru tree. You might have heard about agaru, which is another ingredient of this agarbatti or incense stick. How it is produced? They inject bacteria into this agaru tree, which is aged more than 12 years. It had to attain minimum 12 years of age. They inject bacteria into it. Within 3 months, the whole tree dies off, leaving behind the accumulation of this agaru in the cone-shaped area. So what they do, they cut the trees and collect this agaru. But to make the tree to grow for 12 years, how long the period is? To kill it, few months. Just within 2-3 months, it will cone-shaped, it will produce. But without the death of the tree, that agaru can't be taken out. Do you know what forest bear? They produce profit, resin and timber. Resin is called halmadi, you might have been heard, which is the main ingredient of agarbatti or incense stick. The women sang back in chorus. Chorus means in groups. What do the forest bear? We won't agree with your answer. Profit, resin and timber. What do the forest bear? Soil, water and pure air. They bear soil, water and pure air. So you might have been heard, forests are called as the rain banks. And soil, they hold the soil tightly, their roots hold the soil tightly and avoid soil erosion. In turn, flood. Soil, water and pure air sustain the earth and all that she bears. They withstand the life on earth and all she bears. So we won't agree that forest produce profit, resin and timber. What she bears is soil, water and pure air, which is needed for the sustain of life. So soil, water and pure air sustain the earth. Earth means lives on earth. And all she bears, whatever the earth bears, it's sustained because of this forest. Because they give us, they hold the soil together and prevent flood. Together soil erosion they prevent. They give us water because forests are called as rain banks. And also they purify the air. During photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is absorbed and oxygen is given out, which purifies the air. Beyond monoculture. What is monoculture? Mono means single. Monoculture is growing a single crop. Beyond monoculture. You might have been heard the farmer suiciding case. Up to what range this is right? Because Mother Earth, she gives how much ever we work. If one crop failed, other crop, it holds their hand because they had to follow the right way of cultivating. And moreover, as we observe, a person who has 6 or let it be 4 acres of land, he won't grow a single crop in all this area. He mixes the crops. He may grow 2 acres paddies, 2 acres vegetables, 1 acre flower, like that. If his vegetable fails, the remaining 2 will hold his hand, no. But if his vegetable, one of the crop fails, it will be exaggerated in the media, and whatever may be the reason for his death, it is said that farm or suicide case, and exaggerated, and these politicians just make the issue too big for their benefit, because Mother Earth, she gives whatever we wish. Okay. Beyond monoculture. Monoculture means growing single crop, cultivation of single crop. From Chipko, I learned about biodiversity and biodiversity-based living economics. Economics is not the income and expenditure of a family. Economics means, the living economics means what we learn from ecology. From Chipko, she says, from Chipko, I learned about biodiversity and biodiversity-based living economics. The protection of both has become my life's mission. Mission means project. So, the protection of biodiversity and biodiversity-based economics, the protection of both, the protection of these both has become my life's mission. So, although here too, it should be has, why? Because the protection is singular, that's why. Okay, right. As I described in my book, Monocultures of Mind, the failure to understand biodiversity and its many functions is at the root of the impoverishment of nature and culture. Making very poor, or we can say ruined. As I described in my book, Monocultures of Mind, the failure to understand biodiversity and its many functions is at the root of the impoverishment of nature and culture. The lessons I learned about diversity in Himalayan forest, I transferred into protection of biodiversity in our farms. Whatever I learned about biodiversity in this Himalayan forest, I thought of implementing my knowledge in my farms. My farms means the farms of Vandana Shiva. I started saving seeds from farmers' fields and then realized that we needed a farm for demonstration and training. So many varieties. I mean, diversity means different. So many varieties may not exist for the future. So I means here, Vandana Shiva, I thought of collecting seeds from the farmers. So if we collect the seeds, that's not enough. We should have a farm to demonstrate it and to save it, because seeds, if you can see for 2 years, then what else? Then it may spoil. Then you have to collect one seed. It's not possible. So if you cultivate it, you can see the cultivated seed for next 2 years. Then again you have to cultivate such that the demonstration could be done. I started saving seeds from farmers' fields and then realized we needed a farm for demonstration of training. Thus, Navadhanya farm was started in 1994 in the Doon Valley, located in the lower elevation of Himalayan region of Uttarakhand province. This line is very important. Navadhanya farm was started in 1994 in Doon Valley, located in the lower elevation. Elevation means height from the sea level. Himalayan region of Uttarakhand province. Today, we conserve and grow 630 varieties of rice. 630 varieties of rice. We can't imagine at all. Behind these 630 varieties of rice, Vandana Shiva's effort and her dedication for work is there. 130 varieties of wheat and hundreds of other species. We practice and promote a biodiversity intensive farm. Intensive means careful effort in a short period of time. Intensive form of farming that produces more food and nutrient per acre. So the conservation of biodiversity is also the answer for the food and nutrition crisis. You know, the earth area, it won't increase, but the population goes on increasing. As the population increases, the mouth to have food also increasing. The necessity of more food leads to growing more food. So how to grow more food? Because the land is limited. The land area won't increase. Whatever land area we have, even the cultivated area is also converted into industrial areas or dwelling areas. So the available area for cultivation becomes lesser and lesser day by day. For that, what is the solution for this? The only solution for this is growing more food in lesser area. So, we practice and promote a biodiversity intensive form of farming that produces more food and nutrition per acre. The conservation of biodiversity is therefore also the answer for food and nutrition crisis. Now, Dhanya, the movement of biodiversity conservation and organic farming, which I started in 1987, is spreading. Vandana Shiva is still alive. So she says, whatever I started in 1987, now Dhanya, the movement of biodiversity conservation is now spreading. So far, we have worked with farmers to set up more than 100 community seed banks across India. With the help of farmers, 100 community seed banks were started to work. What does it mean? So seed banks will be there, and the farmers, whoever wants seeds, can take the seeds from there. They can sow, they can grow, and after that they have to return that with interest. The seeds only, not the amount. Did you understand? Yes. So what happens? Different varieties will be retained, and moreover, seeds will be fresh. Seeds won't get spoiled. So 100 seed banks, more than 100 community seed banks across India. So we have saved more than 3,000 rice varieties. We can't imagine 3,000 varieties of rice at all. So we saved 3,000 rice varieties. We also help farmers make a transition from fossil fuel and chemical-based monocultures to biodiverse ecological systems nourished by the sun and the soil. Transition means complete change. So here, normally, these farmers, they want to get more crop in less time. So they use chemical fertilizers which reduce the fertility of the soil. So after some years, the fertility of the soil becomes negligible, and they had to depend on this chemical fertilizer only. And there will be one stage where the soil land becomes complete barren. So to avoid this, she encouraged, also she with her group, helped the farmers to make a transition, a complete change from fossil fuel and chemical-based monocultures to biodiverse economical systems nourished by the sun and the soil. Biodiversity has been my teacher of abundance. Abundance means in a large quantity, a lot. Abundance and freedom of cooperation and mutual giving. So, rights of nature on the global stage. When we think of our rights, right to speak, right to walk, right to read, right to study, we list the rights. We least bother about our duties, right? Yes. But as we have the right, even Mother Earth also should have the right, no? Yes, once upon a time, we used to get up early in the morning, and before stepping into Mother Earth, we used to say, Samudra Vasane Devi Parvatastana Mandale Vishnupatni Namastubhyam Padasparsham Kshamaswami. Please excuse that we are stamping on you. Even the dancers, Padaghatam Kshamaswami, we are hitting our legs on you. Please excuse. We used to say that. Nowadays, Chappal Sparsham Kshamaswami, we are not stepping on earth. We are laying on cords. While getting up, we place our legs on sandals itself. So the touch towards Mother Earth is becoming lesser and lesser. So the intimacy, to grow the intimacy, we had to see people. We had to talk to people. No, we had to touch the people. We should be in contact with the people. Even for Mother Earth also the same. We should be in touch of her. We had to talk to her. We had to care her. We had to show our consent towards her. That intimacy grows, but we never care. We consider as she is the supply officer of the materials for our industries. We never thought her as our mother now. So instead of Mother Earth, we used she. Instead of she, we use it. Earth supplies, it supplies. Earlier we used to say Mother Earth, she. See the difference. Now Mother Earth is a non-living thing for us. It's not at all living thing. So such things should be vanished. To reduce that feeling, this Vandana Shiva's group tried a lot. When nature is a teacher, we co-create with her. We recognize her agency and her rights. So Mother Earth or nature, it teaches everything for us. Okay, we agree with that. We co-create with her and we recognize her agency and her rights. This is why it is significant. Significant means important. That Ecuador has recognized the rights of nature in its constitution. So Ecuador is a Latin American country. We recognize that's why it's significant that Ecuador has recognized the rights of nature in its constitution. In our constitution, we list off the rights of every citizens, right? But Ecuador went a step ahead, listing the rights of nature. In April 2011, the United Nations General Assembly, inspired by the Constitution of Ecuador and the Universal Declaration of Rights of Mother Earth, initiated by Bolivia, this is a South American country, Bolivia also a South American country, organized a conference on harmony with nature as a part of Earth Day celebration. We had to live with harmony because whatever we ask, maybe food, maybe water, maybe soil, maybe water, whatever we ask, Mother Earth gives. But we had to give her, we had to respect her. So we are not supposed to harm her. That is the coexistence. The United Nations General, inspired by the Constitution of Ecuador and the Universal Declaration of Rights of Mother Earth, initiated by Bolivia, organized a conference on harmony with nature as a part of Earth Day celebration. Much of the discussion centered on ways to transform the system based on domination. Domination means control. Domination of people over nature, men over women, and rich over poor into new system based on partnership. Why we had to control the nature? People are not supposed to control the nature. Men are not supposed to control the women, or rich never supposed to control the poor. Instead, it should be based on partnership is the main motive of this conference, where this United Nations General Assembly it declared the Universal Declaration of Rights of Mother Earth, initiated by Bolivia. I'll continue in the next class.